Welcome to the Think Forward podcast, where we speak with futurists, innovators, and big thinkers. Come along with your host, Steve Fisher, and explore the future together.
Welcome back to Foundations in Foresight, a Think Forward series. I'm Steve Fisher, and today we're crossing an important threshold. If you've been following along, you know we've covered essential foresight concepts, from scanning for weak signals to recognizing emerging trends. But today, we're exploring a concept that elevates futures thinking from theory into transformative practice: positive sum thinking. When most people hear positive sum, they think about win-win scenarios, and they're right. Positive sum thinking is a mindset that seeks outcomes where everyone involved gains value, opposite to zero-sum thinking, where one party's gain means another's loss. Historically, zero-sum thinking dominated economics, politics, and even relationships, suggesting that resources, power, and success were limited and competitive. But as futurists, we recognize that zero-sum mentalities limit our ability to create better futures. Let me illustrate this with a personal anecdote. Early in my career, I worked on a startup where our competition was fierce. Our entire strategy was built around outperforming others, which seemed logical. Yet, ironically, this competitive mindset narrowed our vision. Instead of innovating broadly, we focused only on surpassing the immediate competition. This limited our creativity, narrowed our market perspective, and made us reactive rather than proactive. Contrast this with another experience later in my career, when I collaborated with supposed competitors. Instead of trying to beat each other, we identified complementary strengths and pursued collaborative innovation. Together, we created a market segment larger than either of us could have imagined separately. That was a clear example of positive sum thinking in action, an abundance mindset rather than a scarcity one. Positive sum in the age of intelligence. This brings us to a broader context, the age of intelligence. We've discussed before that we're transitioning from an era of scarce, centralized knowledge to one of abundant, decentralized intelligence, powered by AI, widespread connectivity, and collective insights. But how does positive sum thinking fit within this new era? Simply put, the age of intelligence thrives on collaboration, information sharing, and innovation networks. Centralized knowledge systems, universities, governments, corporations no longer exclusively control information. Decentralized knowledge is abundant, shared, and interconnected, creating fertile ground for positive sum interactions. For example, open-source AI projects like Hugging Face or collaborative platforms like GitHub have demonstrated immense potential, precisely because they enable collective innovation rather than competitive isolation. The more people contribute to these open networks, the greater the benefit for all involved. That's not zero-sum competition. It's positive-sum collaboration. As we've discussed previously, we're navigating a new era shaped by structural transformations, what I call super shifts. Let's briefly revisit a few of these and explore how positive-sum thinking plays a vital role. Take, for example, power flow. Traditional power structures are becoming decentralized. Positive-sum approaches help build governance models that empower more stakeholders, creating stability and shared prosperity rather than division and exclusion. You could also look at eco-awareness and sustainability. Addressing climate and environmental challenges requires global collaboration. Positive sum outcomes enable stakeholders to create shared environmental value rather than competing over dwindling resources. And there is generational drift, where generations have differing expectations and approaches. Positive sum thinking creates intergenerational value, combining the wisdom of older generations with younger generations' fresh perspectives. Each of these super shifts illustrates why positive sum thinking isn't just beneficial. It's essential for navigating complex future landscapes. Practical steps to embrace positive sum thinking. So how can you practically implement positive sum thinking into your foresight practices? Step 1. Reframe the narrative. Identify problems framed as win-lose scenarios in your work or community. For example, budget negotiations often assume that for one department to gain, another must lose. Challenge these assumptions by asking, how can we create value for everyone involved? Step 2. Foster collaborative networks. Build communities or forums that encourage information exchange and mutual growth. Whether through professional groups, digital platforms, or informal meetups, create environments where collaboration is rewarded over competition. Step 3. Engage in strategic experimentation. Apply foresight methodologies like scenario planning and backcasting that emphasize creating futures beneficial to multiple stakeholders. Scenario planning exercises, in particular, help groups visualize collective futures, uncovering opportunities where multiple parties benefit. Let's look at Patagonia as a tangible example of positive sum thinking. Patagonia famously uses sustainability not as a marketing tactic, but as a core business strategy. Rather than competing by undercutting competitors on price or style alone, Patagonia actively collaborates with other businesses, even competitors, to create industry-wide standards for sustainability. The result? Increased market opportunities for sustainable products across the industry and greater environmental impact. Everyone benefits. Patagonia's brand grows stronger, consumers feel good about purchases, and the environment benefits from more sustainable practices. This is positive sum thinking, a fundamental shift from competing for limited resources to collaboratively expanding resources for mutual benefit. I invite you to try a quick exercise. Think of a current challenge you're facing, perhaps a negotiation or conflict. Write down why it feels zero-sum. Now, try reframing that issue by asking, what if there was a hidden way everyone could gain? Or what assumptions need to change? Or who could I collaborate with to amplify positive outcomes? Take 2 minutes right now and write down your thoughts. You might discover surprising possibilities. Now, I'd love to hear your experiences. Have you ever shifted from zero-sum to positive-sum thinking? What was the result? Share your stories or questions via our website or social channels. I'll feature some of your examples in future episodes. Positive sum thinking isn't just for organizations. It's equally powerful in our personal lives. Consider relationships, personal growth, even family dynamics. Positive sum perspectives strengthen relationships, build trust, and enhance cooperation. Recently, I faced a scheduling conflict balancing personal and professional commitments. Initially, it seemed like a zero-sum decision, family time or career opportunity. But by applying positive sum thinking, we designed a creative solution, merging the two commitments into a memorable shared experience. This reframing allowed everyone involved to benefit without sacrificing key priorities. Yet, adopting positive sum thinking isn't always straightforward. Here are common roadblocks and practical ways to overcome them. The first one is mental scarcity. This is the belief in limited resources. Overcome this by exposing yourself regularly to examples of abundance and innovation. Next one is lack of trust, where positive sum outcomes rely heavily on collaboration and trust. Build trust incrementally with small collaborative wins that demonstrate mutual benefits. And last is institutional barriers, where traditional reward systems often reinforce zero-sum competition. Advocate for and design reward structures emphasizing collective success and shared goals. Today, we've moved from theory into powerful practice, shifting from merely reacting to change toward actively designing better futures. Positive sum thinking isn't just a nice idea, it's an essential capability in the age of intelligence, especially amidst the complexity and speed of change. Remember, foresight is fundamentally about exploring better possibilities. Positive sum thinking positions us not just to survive disruption, but to thrive by actively creating better futures for all stakeholders. Okay. That does it for this episode. In the next episode, we'll dive even deeper into how these concepts manifest practically within organizations. We'll explore the application of positive sum thinking within the broader transform model, examining actionable principles and frameworks for navigating complexity and uncertainty. Stay tuned, keep practicing your positive sum mindset, and until next time, always thinking forward.
Thanks for listening to the Think Forward podcast. You can find us on all the major podcast platforms and at www.thinkforwardshow.com, as well as on YouTube under Think Forward Show. See you next time.